We're taking our seldom used rover and going to fetch another batch of ice because we need hydrogen fuel and power to charge our new jump drive. But we have bigger plans than just attaching a jump drive. Oh no, we've got to apply just a little engineering and styling, which is coming up right now. The base is busy. We're building superconductors from over 2,000 thruster components we salvaged for gold, processing ice for hydrogen. And to help charge the first battery on the jump drive module, we're building a very temporary wind turbine. To add electricity to keep our base production running and charge our new power-hungry jump drive components, we'll jack up the module and get it properly attached to the rest of the ship, and take advantage of the rest of the charging circuit. In the last episode, we built this little welder line over to the jump drive, and as you can see, it's zapping down those superconductors fresh as they come off the assembly line. The jump drive is finished, so we can get rid of the welder line, and I'll leave a few of the conveyors in case we need it later, and cap it off for a nice decorative bit to the base. Now, to start applying the vision I had for the jump drive, what I'll be doing is adding a small maneuvering module to the jump drive. That's right, a module of a module, and it starts with a connector, and then another connector to small grid. Yeah, it gets even crazier than modules of modules. We're going from the small grid of Hail Mary to the large grid of the jump drive, back to a small grid for some maneuvering thrusters. We'll leave the battery unbuilt for the moment and start placing down the thrusters. Now, the styling on this mini module is important. It'll double down to be both functional and decorative, and I'm hoping for something like a tail ornament on the jump drive. What I'm seeing are wings that'll come out like a bird. You can start to see what it'll look like right here. Yeah, that's starting to look nice. Before I get too far along, we need to get the maneuvering module set properly and locked onto the connector. What we're after there is that little gap you get between connectors before we lock everything together. Unfortunately, the 3 ion thrusters for lift aren't gonna cut it in atmosphere, so we'll add a couple atmospheric ones just for the lift here in the extra heavy gravity of Pertam to get it all squared away. We'll add some supporting blocks and also a camera. How this maneuvering module will actually work is as a semi-permanently attached drone that just happens to be dragging around the entire jump drive module. We'll add a couple more decorative blocks and it just keeps getting better, sort of an aggressive bird shape. And we'll leave it like that. From here, you can see it has what it needs to be that separate mini drone with a remote control, several gyroscopes, and there's an internal antenna buried in there too. I've disconnected briefly from the base to check out weight, and this ship with the jump drive module so far is 134,000 kilograms. Hail Mary can definitely lift that much, but we have quite a few more blocks to add to finish the module, so I'm going to have to change what I did. I had been using the light armor blocks to surround most of the ship. This, though, was adding a lot of weight. So as much as possible, I'm going to use the light armor panels, which are much lighter. I think I'm still going to have to use some light armor blocks, but I'm going to remove the bigger ones I have around the bottom and trim off several more kilograms with slightly smaller ones. Okay, I've kinda got the shape laid out, and you can see better what I was going for. I wanted to take the notch that's around the middle section of the houseboat and mirror that onto the jump drive module. You can also see how the small grid maneuvering module sits at the back like that tail ornament I mentioned. And because that creates more of a distinct front and back, I think I can leave the rear of the module flattened more, so the whole thing is a little bullet shaped. Next, I added a series of light panels that'll gently cast the same bluish light I have on the houseboat. It's hard to see it in the daytime, but we'll check it out again soon when it gets dark and see if it gives the effect we want. On the inside of Hail Mary, we have more work to do there as well. I've been debating what to do with the top area above the survival kit, and I think I'll add a second hydrogen-powered engine. If we have ice, that'll really help recharge the jump drive. To further help with charging while here at the base, I ran a line of conveyors to an empty area and dropped a large grid hydrogen engine. I probably won't use it a lot, but right now we have a lot of charging to do. We had a dead space behind the new hydrogen engine on the ship, but I'll place 3 timer blocks there. What I'll do with at least a couple of those is to facilitate shutting down all the non-essential systems of the ship while I'm trying to recharge the jump drive, or really anytime I want to conserve a lot of power. How I'm doing that is that I'm loading up the slots on the timer blocks with either block groups or single blocks and turning off everything except for some fundamental blocks to control and fly the ship and anything having to do with life support or power generation. The end result was pretty nice. I added a light on the interior, colored red, and set it to turn on when all the power saving blocks are turned off. This will be a reminder that I'm in a power saving mode and also give a nice effect. Next, I wanted to add just a couple guns. I don't ever see the Houseboat being a combat-worthy ship, but I've never liked that it's completely defenseless either. After a couple configurations, I decided I didn't like them placed alongside the thrusters. The hole it left behind is just too big and you can see too much of the ship's interior. It just wasn't visually pleasing. So a low placement under the thrusters would look a lot better, and having the guns a little closer together is also better for landing shots on an enemy. This is now what it's looking like when the sun is down. The jump drive module at least looks like it belongs with the Houseboat. Similar style, similar color, and of course it's all about the lighting. We disassembled some Gatling ammo we salvaged to make some autocannon magazines, and that'll give us that basic defense. I also wanted and needed a front camera on the ship, and after placing it on top of the grinder, I felt down below underneath would be much better. Not only would it be in line with the guns to help line up shots, but the grinder might need periodic replacement with a drill to get ice. Without a jetpack, I'll have to do a mag boot walk across the top of the ship, but at least I could do it without having to rebuild and set up a camera each time. It was right about then, when a storm was moving in, I got a very close call with a meteor strike. That was too close for comfort, so I immediately constructed some interior turrets that might be able to help shoot down the meteors. I'm pretty sure they can do, though they may have to hit them more than once, but I'm pretty sure I've seen the interior turrets destroy a meteor. Hopefully, this will keep us a little safer as we get ready for launch. I've loaded the ship up with a bunch of ice, and we're now sitting at 163,000 lifting kilograms on Pertam, out of 183 possible lifting capacity. That's probably about as far as we want to push it. So let's fold up our solar array with our automated system and head to space. I'm a little worried about hitting that wind turbine, so we'll nudge the ship to the side as we take off. It's very heavy and tipping back as we disconnect, but I think we've got it. There we go. We have liftoff, and the Hail Mary Houseboat is performing admirably. Next time will probably be the final episode, as we do a little bit more exploration here at Pertam and reveal our destination in the final steps to escape from Pertam. See you next time in the series finale.